Okay, so my journey starts after I lost a very large sum of money after one of my entrepreneurial conquests, if you will, a very large sum of money. Well, I was in a position where I was looking to reinvent myself once again. I had lost money investing it in all of the traditional ways that I've been taught to invest. I was beginning to see that traditional things that I was being taught didn't work. I thought I was pretty savvy financially, but obviously I wasn't because I saw myself in this endless cycle. And in my full presentation, I call it the wealth chaser and wealth waster cycle. I was caught in between these two cycles. And I was very tired of it, to say the least. So in an attempt to reinvent myself, if you will, I sought mentorship. And I reconnected with an old business associate of mine who I heard was very successful and was doing some things in the financial arena. I went and met with him, and I shared with him my frustrations about how it seemed like I just couldn't stay on top. I had no problem getting there, but I found myself over and over again going back to zero and starting over again. Well, I quickly found out that this old business associate was more knowledgeable than I could ever imagine. I knew that he had accumulated wealth, but I didn't know exactly how he had done it and maintained it for so long. He began to share with me what had been taught to him when he met a wealthy mentor 10 years prior to us sitting down together. I'd come to find out that this associate was actually now one of the top financial strategists in the entire country, and his financial knowledge was about to change my life forever. He began to explain to me that if I ever wanted to sustain wealth, I had to learn how to stop interrupting the compounding of my money. I had to learn how to stop losing. I had to learn how to hedge my bets, if you will, put myself in a position that only the financially privileged really understood, where even if my investments went bad, that I would never ever go back to zero again. You see, there were some strategies that only a very small segment of society knew, he explained, that could change everything for myself and my family forever. To say the least, he had my interest. You see, this business associate, for now, let's just call him Mr. G, okay? He was about to share with me some information that would forever change the way that I thought about money. It would change the way that I looked at my personal finances. It would change the way that I looked at each dollar. It would change the way that I looked at my legacy and what was possible for myself and my family. You see, I had always been interested in creating a legacy for my children and beyond. He explained to me that the truly financially privileged didn't take the same risks with their money that everyone else did. He also explained that banks and financial institutions always hedge their bets, if you will, protecting themselves from losses, just in case their investments ever went against them. They also leverage their money at incredible rates of 10, even up to 20 to 1, making each one of their dollars work harder, giving them what I now call money muscle. He explained to me that as a society, we've only been taught how to spend our dollars, and when we want to buy something, and then they're gone. See, that's why we get no respect from the financially privileged, who look at the majority of us as pure consumers, otherwise known as financial weaklings. Mr. G explained to me that his life turned around when his path crossed with, once again, a wealthy mentor who taught him a strategy that would allow him to safely grow and increase the velocity of his dollars. In the financial world, this means to get a dollar to make money for you multiple times or do many things for you simultaneously, just like the banks and other financial institutions have been doing for centuries. He explained that this strategy could be accomplished using a couple of little-known strategies. One is known as indexing. He explained that indexing is a strategy used by those who are in the know, if you will, to participate in the gains of huge financial markets, such as the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, and even gold, as well as many more, all without ever actually putting their money in the market and risking it. I was blown away at this concept. An investment strategy where I could make a profit but never take a loss? It sounded too good to be true. He quickly explained to me that it was not really classified as an equity investment strategy, although it appears to be one. It was more of an enhanced saving strategy because there was really no risk being incurred. The participants' money was as safe as being in a savings account, if not even more safe in most instances. He further explained to me that there is a trade-off, though, for having a guarantee that the individual using this strategy would never lose their principal. It's called a cap. The cap is a ceiling, if you will, put on the profit that the indexer can earn on his or her money in any given year or other specified period of time. But even with that being said, the potential to earn is much higher than just about any other money safe haven, such as savings accounts, money markets, or CDs, for instance. He explained to me that once I understood the value of the indexing strategy, it would be difficult for me to ever do anything else with money that I didn't want to risk, but I wanted it to grow. I know, this is a lot of information to take in, just like it was for me. But you see, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So let me show you how this actually works in this chart. As you can see here in this chart, there's a floor and there's a ceiling. Okay? Now, what does that mean? What it means is you have the ability to participate in markets such as the S&P 500, the Dow, and other markets as I stated previously. But your floor is actually zero on your money. That's the absolute worst that you can do. But you can earn from 10 to 15% or even more on your money on an annual basis without ever taking a risk. Zero is actually your hero. You can never ever take losses. If you look at this chart of what actually happened in the market between 1999 and the beginning of 2010, you can see here that there were huge market losses that were taken between 2001 and 2003. And then also you can see where in 2008 the recession started and most people lost anywhere between 30 to 45% of their money if they had it directly in the market. But utilizing the indexing strategy, an individual's money is never in the market. It's only indexed against the market. And zero is your hero. So as you can see here in red, as everyone else took losses from 2001 to 2003, an individual here on the right that was indexing actually had zero gains during those years. So they actually went sideways if you were looking at a financial graph instead of going down. If you look in 2008 where huge losses were taken, anywhere from 35 to 40+%, as you can see, during the same year, individuals who understood the indexing strategy, their accounts did zero. They went sideways once again. I call this strategy sideways and up. That's the only way that your money will go when you look at a financial graph or a financial chart. Either sideways to the right or up. When the market actually goes up, you participate in those gains. Zero is truly your hero. You can see here, if $100,000 had been put in the market in 1999, that $100,000 would have been worth less than $95,000, really close to $90,000 at the end of 10 years. Imagine losing almost $10,000 of your 100, almost 10% after investing your money for 10 years. That's a horrible investment, and that's what we've been taught to do mainstream. But look on the right here. You can see that an individual who understands this indexing strategy would actually double their money during 10 of the worst consecutive cumulative years that we've ever seen in the market. In the financial arena, these 10 years are actually called the lost decade. Yet those who understood the indexing strategy could have actually doubled their money during these financial times. Unbelievable. So as you can see, zero is now your hero. I had never been shown this concept before. It was incredible to say the least. Why had I never seen this before? I thought back to my IRA that I had seen take huge losses several years in a row and seemed to never go up, and the money that I had risked and lost with traditional stocks. I could have even taken the same money and grown it without ever taking one single risk had I understood this strategy, had someone shared it with me. When I understood this, I became a little angry that no one had ever shown me this before. Shouldn't all individuals who call themselves financial advisors know this and share it with their clients? That's what I thought. You see, my next question was, where could I put my money to actually execute this strategy? Could someone with a 401k or an IRA do this? If so, I was going to set up an account immediately. He explained to me that there were really only a couple of types of mainstream vehicles that one could use to execute the indexing strategy. The first was inside of a fixed annuity, which many people are actually becoming aware of. And the second was inside of a certain type of properly structured life insurance contract that most people don't even know exists. First, he explained the annuity. He explained that the right type of indexed annuity could be a great vehicle for accumulating long-term wealth while protecting an investor's money from losses. An investor could actually have risk-free returns of up to 15 times that of what some banks are currently paying on savings and money market accounts. Up to 15 times what banks are paying, I thought? How could this even be possible with no risk? He then explained to me that there was an even better alternative than annuities that even most financial advisors and so-called financial gurus were not even aware of. He called it a properly structured life insurance contract. Permanent insurance contract, to be more exact. He put the emphasis on the term properly structured. He said that it had to be properly structured because in the past, this savings vehicle was so effective that it had actually been abused by the super wealthy who understood its value. Because of overuse by those who understood how to use it to their advantage, the IRS actually had to put special parameters in place to make sure that insurance contracts were not being abused. To accomplish this, a regulation known as Internal Revenue Code Section 7702, or TAMRA, the Technical and Miscellaneous Revenue Act, was put in place in 1982 to regulate abuse of insurance contracts. This is why they must now be properly structured. He explained that this vehicle allows unbelievable tax-deferred returns of up to 30 times what the banks are currently paying in safe money accounts. You heard me, up to 30 times the return of traditional savings vehicles. He went on to show me that even with regulations in place, these properly structured life insurance contracts were so powerful that they were still the most effective financial vehicle available for saving money safely and increasing the velocity of money, if you will. I, like most people, thought that life insurance was something that I needed to take care of my family should I incur an untimely death, and always made sure that I had a term insurance policy in place to do so. Everyone knows that term insurance is a lot cheaper. I didn't understand why someone would spend more money on a whole life or permanent insurance policy of any type. I wanted to understand how and why properly structured permanent life insurance contracts are able to outperform just about any other mainstream investment, and why once one understood them, they actually became a desirable asset and not just another bill. He explained that because the primary purpose of life insurance is to provide a death benefit, that they are not categorized as investments, so they don't adhere to the same rules that prevent traditional investments from sustaining high rates of return. See, he also explained that most of us have never been taught that insurance companies were financial institutions, just like banks. As a matter of fact, most of them are bigger and safer than banks in most instances. Once one understood how to take advantage of using this little known about fact, they could actually take advantage of an extremely advantageous savings institution, if you will. He explained the following to me. Although unlike traditional qualified retirement plans such as 401ks and traditional IRAs, for instance, pre-tax money cannot be deposited into a properly structured permanent life insurance contract. But just like a qualified plan, money can grow inside of the policy on a tax-deferred basis. Well, what does this mean? It means no current taxes on the money inside of an insurance policy that's been properly structured. Just like a 401k that most people love, but without the restrictions. One of the biggest benefits of a permanent insurance contract is that it has a characteristic that traditional investments and retirement accounts don't have: the ability to allow the owner to take money from the policy's cash value account as tax-free income during retirement. The only other financial vehicle that even comes close is a Roth IRA, which allows for tax-free withdrawals during retirement. This is why people love Roth IRAs, because what you see is what you get during retirement. It doesn't matter if tax rates go up. The owner of a Roth is not affected when they're ready to take their money. The Roth IRA does have weaknesses, though. As of 2013, the owner of one is limited to depositing only $5,500 per year into the account, only $6,500 if age 50 or older. But what if an individual has more money than that they would love to be able to grow tax-deferred and access tax-free during retirement? Well, tough luck, because the IRS will not allow an individual to exceed these limits. Also, any gains inside of the Roth IRA are taxed and penalized at 10% if withdrawn before age 59 and a half, just like a regular qualified retirement plan. On the other hand, under current tax law, money inside of a properly structured insurance contract could actually be accessed through a little-known IRS code called Code Section 72E, which allows the owner of the policy to actually collateralize their money instead of pull it out of the permanent insurance policy's cash account, if you will. You see, he explained this means that they can actually use their money versus spend it. At first I didn't get it, and then the light bulb went off. This feature, or loophole if you will, allows the policy owner of a properly structured permanent insurance contract to access their money without ever interrupting the compound interest that their money is earning. I was now beginning to understand that as I funded a properly structured insurance contract, I would also be effectively capitalizing my own personal banking system, with the insurance company serving as my holding institution and my life insurance contract as a sub-account of sorts. This unique financial system inside of the properly structured insurance contract would allow me to finance my lifestyle by collateralizing my own money, instead of it sitting useless inside of a traditional retirement account until I reached the age of 59 and a half. The more I saved, the more I could collateralize without ever actually spending my money. I would actually get to keep my money and use it to buy things all at the same time. And all of the payments that I made back to my financial system would free my money up to be used again. I could repeat this process over and over again to enhance my lifestyle. The best part is that the same dollars used to finance my lifestyle would be simultaneously growing to set me up for my golden years. He had actually shown me the secret to building wealth without risk while maintaining my lifestyle. Unreal. On top of it all, he showed me that after I was done using my money instead of spending it, as we've all been taught to do, I would automatically leave behind a sizable inheritance to my loved ones at my death, all because of the vehicle that I had actually used to save my money. It would be created automatically by the life insurance policy. This was incredible. I know some of you viewing this don't quite get everything that I'm sharing with you right now, which is understandable because it's a lot to absorb. So let me use a couple of illustrations that can actually show you how this works and how powerful this can be when actually setting up your retirement utilizing one of these properly structured insurance contracts. In this first example, let's use an automobile purchase, since most individuals can relate to this. We've been taught if we were purchasing a $40,000 automobile that there are really only a couple of different ways to purchase it. The first would be through bank financing, where we'd spend our $40,000 in principal plus $5,000 in interest approximately. So at the end of 4 years, we'd end up spending $45,000 and we would own that automobile free and clear. But we'd have nothing else to show for it. Now, if we were a wealth waster, which is an individual who saves cash but uses it inefficiently, we'd have $100,000 and we'd go out and we'd spend $40,000 in cash to purchase that automobile to avoid interest and finance charges. Even with putting back the $40,000 over 4 years because of the interest and the automobile payments that we don't have to make, we'd still only have $103,000 in our account at the end of 4 years, including interest. Now that's not bad, But when you look at an individual who understands money and puts that $100,000 inside of a properly structured insurance contract and then collateralizes the $40,000 instead of spends it, at the end of 4 years, that individual could have as much as $122,900 in their account. That's close to $123,000, $20,000 more than the individual who spent cash as a defensive strategy. You see, the financially privileged don't use defensive strategies. They actually utilize wealth building strategies. So they take the same exact money and they have different results. They actually build wealth while living lifestyles that most people only dream about. But just want you to get an idea of what can be created utilizing a properly structured insurance contract, how unbelievable it is. Looking at a 45-year-old male who actually uses a properly structured insurance contract and deposits $250 a month into this contract, which we call a legacy bank, okay? And as you can see here, starting at age 45, this individual is putting $3,000 per year, that's $250 per month, depositing that into the insurance contract as an alternative to a savings account or a 401k traditionally. Okay, now the first thing you have to notice here is immediately if something were to happen to that individual after depositing the first $250 into the account, look over here on the right, a death benefit over $102,000 would be paid out to their family. So their $250 would turn into $102,000 just because of where they're depositing the money. Now, as you can see here, at age 65, when this individual decides that they want to retire, they can actually begin to pull out tax-free $7,200 per year, tax-free, okay, and do this from age 65, and we're showing here all the way to age 90, okay, and that is a total of over $180,000 in tax-free retirement income, and all they put in was $60,000. Put in $60,000, pull out $180,000 tax-free, and on the back end at age 90, if that's when they died, they would also leave behind an additional $117,000 to their beneficiaries. So that's over $200,000, actually close to $300,000 that would be created off of that $60,000. Okay, so an average individual was able to amplify their money and increase the velocity of it. Let's look at another example quickly. I love this example. This is an example of an individual who actually utilizes, has insurance on themselves, but utilizes their 16-year-old son as the beneficiary, as the insured of their policy. Okay, now this individual puts $500 per month, this 46-year-old male, and does this as a supplemental retirement account. $500 per month. They do this from age 46 to age 65. At age 65, 66, this male begins to pull $25,000 per year out of this contract, tax-free, from age 66 to age 99. When he dies, since the insurance is actually on his son, he can actually turn this over to his son as the owner, the contingent owner. His son will pull $40,000 per year out, tax-free, from age 69 all the way to age 93. And when the son dies, the son will leave $3.6 million behind for the kids and the grandkids. So to understand what you're looking at here, utilizing a properly structured insurance contract, this individual took $120,000 and turned it into $5.4 million and provided over $1.8 million of retirement money to 2 generations, both himself and his son, and left behind over $3.6 million to his kids and his grandkids. You know, in the full presentation, we'll explain in detail how this is done, but we just wanted you to look at the numbers. This is unreal what you can do with these permanent insurance contracts. If you want to learn how to just take your regular money and do this type of thing with it, you have to look into this further. But we just wanted to wet your whistle a little bit and just to understand that you can be the one that can change everything for your family financially. To watch the full seminar, you have to go to a website. That website is www.wealth.com. You see it on the screen right here. ZeroRiskWealth.com. When you go there, you'll be able to see the entire 90-minute seminar that will explain everything, the inner workings of these insurance contracts, these properly structured insurance contracts, how they work, and how they're able to create such powerful income, such powerful tax advantages, and such powerful legacy building characteristics. Guys, I hope today was the financial bookmark of your life, and I look forward to talking to you soon. At the end of this video, my contact information will be on the screen. Be sure to jot it down, and let's talk soon. Until then, be blessed.